So, Transformers Reactivate got cancelled.
Oh my god, no way!
What's good, internet? Jake here, and what can I say? I'm disappointed but not surprised. We haven't had a real update in years, and the hype of the game was depending on unhinged leakers on YouTube. Based on the leaked gameplay I have seen, I think the game would have been really fun. It just looked like a modern version of War for Cybertron, which is not a bad approach to take with a Transformers game. I feel like the cancellation spawned a wave of doomer mentality for Transformers fans, which I think is a little silly. Even though we're going to be entering a lull in content, Age of the Primes looks amazing, we're finally getting Bayverse characters again in Studio Series, and we know for a fact that a new series called Cyberworld is on the way, and a new toy for it even leaked. Maybe the mentality is coming from newer fans, and that's fine, I get it, but new fans should understand that the franchise has had many dark periods, and just like William Afton, Transformers always comes back, baby. The Twitter account Crazy Ass Moments in Transformers History made a really good post about this, and I'll link it in the description. Anyway, Reactivate is cancelled, but we still got 4 toys based on a game that will never see the light of day. Despite being reviewed fairly well, I wasn't super interested in these figures, so I never picked up either of the 2-packs. I've heard Optimus and Starscream are really good figures, so I may pick them up loose in the future. In retrospect, the mere existence of these 2-packs is hilarious, and really speaks to the troubled development of Transformers Reactivate, because you know, in a perfect world, these toys would be coming out at the same time or near the same time of the video game. But one more Reactivate figure did come out. Kind of. For the final wave of 2024's Studio Series lineup, Hasbro bizarrely repacked Reactivate Bumblebee in the Studio Series Gamer Edition line. Much like the 2-packs, I was originally ignoring the toy, but when the game was cancelled, I had to have it. I'm sorry, I had to. So I bought it. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it really tickles me so much to own a toy with branding for a game that will never exist. I also love that the video game developer Splash Damage's logo is on the back of the box. Very funny considering the rumors that they were kind of scamming Hasbro. As much as I like the box, I decided to open up the toy to check it out. And I gotta say, I really dig the design. Reactivate Bumblebee dares to ask, what if Bumblebee was a Chad? I love his head sculpt. It's unique, but also distinctly Bumblebee. I also think the feet design is interesting with the 2 toes. And I really like how all 4 of his wheels end up on his legs. I also like the weapons. 2 small miniguns that remind me of Tracer from Overwatch. I can definitely imagine Bumblebee zipping around the battlefield like Tracer. Some of the Reactivate figures have asymmetrical black markings on their designs. Starscream has the most on him, but Bumblebee has a little bit of the black markings on his left door wing. You have to wonder what these markings even mean. Sadly, we probably won't know for a few years, but hopefully some developer interviews will shed light on the story details in the future. Transformation is pretty fun, but I swear to God, it must be some kind of Hasbro mandated rule to have an annoying ass step involving Bumblebee's roof transformations. I seriously had to watch an MGO video to make sure I wasn't about to break my toy. Transformation is more annoying than I would like. I feel like it's a game of squishing like 10 different pieces together at the same time, but once it is squished together, the vehicle mode is fantastic. I love the armored dune buggy look of him. It's a very unique alt mode for Bumblebee and definitely reflects the post-apocalyptic vibe the original trailer presented. I also really like the engine block on the back of the car. You can definitely imagine zooming through levels with equipment like that. His blasters plug into the roof of the car, which I normally think looks dumb on vehicle modes, but because this guy is from a game, I assume you would actually be attacking enemies in vehicle mode like this, so it kind of gets a pass from me. Overall, this is a really fun figure and such an oddity that I'm glad to have it in my collection. But the toys from Reactivate aren't the only Transformers that don't exist. The Cybertron intro to Bumblebee is one of the most beloved pieces of media in the franchise. It was amazing to see live action G1 inspired versions of so many classic characters. This scene was actually a very late addition to the movie, so the Bumblebee Studio Series lineup didn't include any of the Cybertronian characters until 2021 with the release of B-127. Since 2020, Hasbro has gone through that opening scene and has released every character that appeared in it. I think this line of characters is really great. I think the Cybertronian designs are excellent G1 homages, while still being their own unique thing, and I especially like some of the vehicle modes they came up with, like Brawn being a cool drill. Unfortunately, I wasn't collecting while most of these toys came out, so I'm slowly collecting loose copies from my local toy store, and it's always a treat when I find one. By 2024, the only characters missing were Shockwave and Skywarp, and both got toys that year. 2024 is the same year Hasbro introduced our next subject, the Concept Art series. This sub-series was a totally new addition to the Studio Series line, featuring characters from the Bumblebee movie that never actually appeared. The sub-series is made up of 4 figures: Frenzy, Rumble, Sunstreaker, and Megatron. Just to get these out of the way, Frenzy and Rumble are fine. I only own Frenzy, but I do plan to pick up Rumble at some point. I'm just not in a rush. The articulation is okay, but they're severely hindered by these big dumb jackhammer arms. You can technically articulate their arms a lot thanks to the transformation, but it just looks cursed to me. The real stars of this line are Deluxe Class Sunstreaker and Leader Class Megatron. Before we talk about the toys, I actually want to discuss a conspiracy theory I have about the concept art line. After Bumblebee was released, the company that does all the CGI for the Transformers movies released plenty of concept art from pre-production of the movie. Concept art of all the main cast and the Cybertronian cast, including designs that were never used and scenes that were never shot. None of this concept artwork seems to include Megatron, Sunstreaker, Rumble, or Frenzy. The only proof I can find comes from King_Samlock on Instagram. King_Samlock is a Hasbro designer, and he made this post featuring a 3D model of the concept Megatron with icicles hanging off. The first paragraph of the post is what interests me the most. He says, "I am ecstatic to finally be able to share our Leader Class concept Megatron. We officially came across this oddity while sifting through the CAD files from the Bumblebee movie and discovered a wonderful unused design for Megatron. Originally, the story was going to utilize Megatron being frozen in ice to help bridge the continuity gap to the Bayverse films, but the scene was eventually dropped and this design disappeared. Luckily for us, we thought it out, and I was thrilled to be a part of the team to help bring this figure to life." Now, the fact that they were going to use Megatron being frozen in ice is absolutely true. There's even concept art for it using the 2007 design. Now, the matter of the CAD model. I feel like I'm absolutely insane for saying this, but I kinda don't believe it. Generally, I am not the conspiracy theory type, but I just feel like it would be super unlikely that ILM would build a CAD model for a scene that seemingly never made it past pre-production. There's not any deleted scenes where a Megatron on ice would be featured to even require a model. Like, not a single piece of artwork surface, but they were able to find a CAD model? Why do those deleted scene appliance transformers have more concept art than Megatron? And to be clear, I am assuming this model is not the one they found, but based on it? At least that's how I interpret the post. I feel like a crazy person for saying any of this, to be honest, and I hope I'm wrong, and maybe we'll see a Megatron model or possibly art in the future. For Sunstreaker, Rumble, and Frenzy, though, there doesn't seem to be any evidence of them having concept art. Realistically, I think they needed to fill in some gaps because they were quickly running out of characters to make toys of, so this concept line was a solution to that issue. Without concept artwork though, these toys feel more like what-if figures, and I'm perfectly okay with that, because these figures are really cool, and I think they fit perfectly with the other characters that were actually in the movie. If there's any like super obvious concept artwork or an article I missed, please let me know, because I'm super willing to admit I'm wrong and eat crow. I was just unable to find anything that would make me think otherwise. Let's talk about the toys though. Megatron has an incredible look. I love his head sculpt and the red accents throughout his body. The silver paint is really nice as well. His articulation is great, especially his hands, which are very expressive. The only issue I have with his robot mode is his crotch area is kind of just a big chunk, and it kind of looks weird to me. As much as I love the robot mode, I do feel conflicted about this figure because of his terrible alt modes and transformations. Megatron is a triple changer and can turn into a jet or tank, which is cool and maybe a reference to the cancelled animated Marauder Megatron. The issue is both modes look really bad to me, and transforming them into said modes is worse. It's worse than how they look. The transformation is so annoying, I'm not even going to bother for this video. My main issue is that it's very hard to infer what you need to do in the transformation because he doesn't have much identifiable kibble, and some of the transformation feels over-engineered for the sake of it. So anytime I transform him, I feel like I need the instructions in front of me. I also feel like Megatron is a bit overpriced. He's a leader class, but is about the same height as Voyager class Shockwave. I realize these days size classes are more based on the engineering complexity of the character than the actual size of the toy, so triple changers tend to be leader class prices. But I really wish that Megatron just had one mode that actually worked, instead of two janky modes that don't really work but add to the quote-unquote complexity of the toy. Other stuff like silver paint and articulated hands probably pushed up his price point as well, but I think the main reason is the triple changing aspect of the toy. Sunstreaker, on the other hand, is my favorite figure of the concept series. I absolutely love this dude's look. His big shoulder pauldrons and his big boots give him a knight or paladin vibe to me. He's a really nice yellow broken up by burnt orange, and an electric blue chest window really draws your eye to him. His blasters are cool and unique as well, and he's able to store them on his back in a way that adds to his look. Transformation is fun. I especially like the way his feet clip together and form the hood of the car. His alt mode is a Cybertronian Lambo, and it looks stunning. Easily one of my favorite Cybertronian modes, maybe ever. Even though I love this toy, I have to wonder why they chose Sunstreaker for the concept series, because again, I'm not convinced actual Sunstreaker concept art exists. My main guess is they chose Sunstreaker to match the War for Cybertron sideswipe that came out in the same wave, since they're brothers in canon. If they do any more concept art stuff, I'd love to see this concept art Cybertronian Optimus Prime, with the trailer. He just looks really cool. So yeah, that's a video about some Transformers that don't exist, or kind of exist vaguely. If there are any I missed, let me know in the comments. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.